at some times there are minor dips, but if we see in long term manner, it started from there and reached there, maybe like this. So this variation in constitutional journey has also helped in strengthening the constitution, in strengthening the democracy, and in strengthening our nation. Several landmark steps which I can recollect randomly. The most important thing is the amendment of the constitution and its scope and limitations. The basic feature doctrine. This was evolved by the courts. The most significant development of law has taken place by the interpretation of constitutional provisions, more particularly Article 14 and Article 21 of the Constitution of India. The core of our democratic principles is the idea of equality and reasonableness, which have been interpreted by the constitutional courts to be the basic feature of the Constitution. Right to equality has been expanded by the courts while interpreting constitutional provisions. For example, in Maneka Gandhi case, it was for the first time that the Honorable Supreme Court held that right to life does not mean merely right as basic existence of a living being. Right to life includes the right to travel and right to travel abroad. Traveling abroad is a fundamental right. But, of course, subject to reasonable restrictions. Now, the doctrine of reasonableness becomes intertwined with the right to life and liberty. For example, a person who is an accused in a trial, he has not been convicted, he is just an accused. Right to travel abroad is a fundamental right, but this right can be put to reasonable restrictions. Even though you are not convicted, you are an accused, you are facing trial. Reasonable restriction can be put on your fundamental right to travel abroad. Right, some relatively recent developments regarding right to life and liberty could not have been thought of. Say, what to say about inception of the Constitution? About a decade ago, nobody could have thought of rights of persons of different sexual orientations, the LGBTQ, and the alphabets will keep on adding, community. A person has a right, has freedom to select his sexual orientation, to express the same, and not to be denied any right because of his sexual orientation. Nobody could have thought of that this will become a right for one day. And in a nation like India, jahan morality, everyone has his own notion of morality, and the moral forces will come forward to say that this is a design to destroy our nation. But the courts interpret it, and we progress. This has been recognized as a right. Adultery. Adultery committed with someone's wife was a punishable offense. and not otherwise? Why? The wife is the property of her husband. The wife, even if her conduct may be considered to be immoral, she has no legal right to do something with her own willingness and with the consent of the other party, because her husband, who was supposed to be her master in good old days, has not consented to it. Whereas the husband had liberty to do it with any other woman if she is not the property, so-called property of any other person. She is unmarried. So the courts again stepped in and interpreted the constitution, the constitutional rights, and found the provision, section 497 IPC, to be unconstitutional. And the law keep on developing. The constitution also keep on growing and developing. I think the single most salient feature of the constitution is its flexibility. We are alive to the changing times. We are alive to the changing expectations and requirements of the society. We are always open to change, but without damaging or violating the basic structure, basic features of the constitution. So this growth of the constitution, the constitutional laws, the constitutional entities, including the judicial system, is because we are flexible, we are open to change, and we are alive to the changes in the society and societal norms. While we are alive to societal norms, the Honorable Supreme Court has cautioned that while deciding litigations, the court should not be swayed by social morality. A thing does not become an offense, or it does not become punishable, and it does not need any reprimand by any court, or at least from the constitutional courts, merely because, as per the moral norms of the society, it is deprecable. So the compartments are very clear. When it comes to morality, the courts are to adhere to the constitutional morality, not the societal morality. And the constitutional morality also keeps on evolving. It keeps on growing, and the laws are interpreted and are enacted as per the changing needs of the society. So that is the beauty which has brought us to where we are standing today in the past 75 years. Several new rights have been created, several rights have been acknowledged, and we hope that this trend will continue steadily. This philosophy of accepting the change with open heart and open mind will be further strengthened, and the constitution and the constitutional entities and bodies will keep on evolving and improving themselves while respecting the powers of each other without encroaching upon the powers of each other and without blaming each other for their actions in performance of their respective duties, which are at times unpalatable to the other wings of the constitutional authorities. Regarding this has been left by the previous speaker. Challenges. Nowadays, a very powerful entity has started attracting and affecting and influencing the mind and thought of every single individual, and that is social media. Media itself, before the advent of social media, media itself was a very strong powerhouse. But in those times, the media used to be handled and guided by some journalists. Those journalists who influenced the society more compared to the others were experienced and educated persons. They used to undertake a study of the subject before addressing a subject in their particular field of media, be it print media or the electronic media. As in the period when the electronic media was also not there, there was only print media. So the journalists used to express their opinions and views in black and white. They were answerable for every single word written by them and printed in the newspaper or magazine or book. So they had the time also to first draft their article, then revise it, and then revise it, and then get it vetted from their senior colleagues, and then it went for printing. Then came electronic media, television, national television, and then numerous private channels. Now, I don't think that this generation is addicted to watching TV, or this generation is even watching TV anymore. Not at least for listening to news or panel discussions. Several of you must not be interested in TV because that generation is also gone. My generation was that generation when we used to watch TV news. Then with the advent of private channels, now it is the race of breaking news. Nobody has time to go in deep in any question or in the details of any event. A thing flashes, maybe of any field, and suddenly a journalist who is nearest to the place of occurrence or nearest to the camera becomes an expert of the whatever field it is. A plane crashed. That was a very sad and very unfortunate incident. I myself watched on TV that one seasoned journalist, he gave his findings, what caused the accident. One of the pilots had switched off the fuel supply to the engines. The other pilot asked him, why did you do it? And before he could elicit the answer, the plane crashed. A narrative was created. Public opinion swayed. The damage was done to the pilot community. And the experts who were conducting inquiry, they were not aware that, oh, the outcome is already there in media. We are wasting our time and energy in conducting the investigation as to the black box could not have been found at that point of time. The cockpit voice recorder was not traceable, but that journalist gave his analysis and report. The same thing happens. This example I gave you because it had influenced the minds of several of us. The same thing happens when expert opinions and views and decisions are given affecting the constitutional bodies, not only the judiciary, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, and numerous constitutional bodies. This has become a major challenge because what is the true power behind any body with which it is functioning? What is the true power of the democracy? faith of the citizens in the democratic setup, in spite of all kinds of criticism, the democracy is working, growing, and getting strengthened day by day. The country is working, progressing, and becoming stronger day by day. So the faith of the people is making the democracy strong. The faith of the people is the strength of all systems and all organs of the governance, be it the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. So when a narrative is created against any particular body or entity, particularly the constitutional bodies and entities, the public opinion is swayed. Those who are not experts in any field, like myself, who has admitted in his judgment that he is not an expert of any field. So those non-expert persons, when they listen to the narration by someone projecting himself to be very competent, educated, and influential person, he says that this system has collapsed. Unfortunately, a lot many people believe the narrative and their opinions are swayed. This is a major challenge which we are facing today in every field, including in the field of implementation of the Constitution, understanding of the Constitution, and working of the constitutional bodies. Like numerous prior other challenges, this will also pass on. I am confident that no permanent damage is going to be caused to any entity. Can you listen? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
The beauty of our democratic setup is that we are capable of handling and digesting differences, disputes, criticisms, and attacks also. Attacks by non-expert, non-educated persons influencing the opinion and faith of majority cannot be taken lightly. But if the younger generation accepts the responsibility, yes, we are the India of tomorrow. We have to protect our nation. We have to protect our institutions, and we have to protect our constitution and the laws and the constitutional bodies. Then I am confident we will be able to meet this challenge very emphatically and effectively. And I have every hope and trust in all of you and persons like you sitting in other colleges, in other fields, in other auditorium, where we are not fortunate enough to have such kind of infrastructure, such pleasant auditorium and courtroom. I suppose it must be for moot courts. I have been to several colleges. Your infrastructure is enviable. So those students who are not fortunate enough, they will also understand their responsibility as the India of tomorrow. What is India? Not a geographical being. As an advocate, several of you will opt to be an advocate. My most cherished memories, most fond instances which I share with everyone in casual interactions are of those times when I was an advocate. I was a proud advocate. So I cherish those memories only. So as an advocate, I always used to address the court, not the person. Who is the court? Person performing the duties. When he is performing the duties, at that moment he is the court. What is India? Indians make India. You are India. If you will be responsible towards whatever you are required to do, then India will become responsible. If you will grow, then India will grow. And Indian constitution will grow, Indian constitutional bodies will grow. So the challenges will keep on coming, improving, evolving, changing forms. We cannot contemplate. But the willingness to handle challenges, that will remain constantly. And like we have handled the challenges of the past, we will handle the challenges of the future also. One I've told is social media, the other is the fashion of negativity. That is also spreading very contagiously. You will find people spreading negativity everywhere regarding every other thing. Be it, if we are in this campus, you can say that you may find students, and nowadays teachers are not good, and vice versa. Teachers will say, now the students are not good. But don't let yourself be affected by this negativity. Students are not good. But still, sitting in front of me are the students who have beaten a very tough competition to get admission to this prestigious institution. Several of you